distinguished delegates, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum. We gather today on a very somber and sorrowful occasion when the brotherly Islamic State of Qatar was treacherously targeted by an aggressor who violates international law without fear of any consequence. Pakistan strongly condemns Israel's reckless and provocative attack on Doha on September 9 that was clearly aimed at sabotaging peace efforts in the Middle East. This was a flagrant violation of the sovereignty and territorial integrity of the State of Qatar. We express our all-out support and solidarity with our Qatari brothers and sisters. Your Highnesses and Excellencies, Israel's assault against Qatar is not an isolated incident. It is yet another manifestation of its declared hegemonic ambitions. My dear brothers and sisters, even in wartime, the role of peace mediators is always deemed inviolable and held sacrosanct. They are the messengers of fragile hope of keeping dialogue alive to advance prospects of peace. One is therefore compelled to question, why then this charade of negotiations? Was the return of hostages ever a priority for a country that has no respect or regard for human life? Excellencies, we deeply appreciate Qatar's sincere and tireless diplomatic efforts, guided by the able leadership of my dear brother, the Amir, His Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani. Qatar has consistently endeavored to bridge divides and promote the noble cause of regional as well as global peace under the most daunting challenges. Ladies and gentlemen, while Gaza bleeds, the heart-wrenching cries of its innocent women and children echo through these halls. We can hear the frail voice of the 10-year-old boy Amir, who walked 12 kilometers barefooted for a few morsels of bread, only to be gunned down by Israeli soldiers along with 64,000 of his fellow countrymen. Israel's genocidal campaign has reduced Gaza to rubble and ruin. The world shall always bear the scars of this unending carnage etched on the very soul of humanity. Injustice has reached an unbearable level. This must stop and stop now. Excellencies, Pakistan reiterates the following urgent and essential steps. Israel must be held accountable for its war crimes against humanity. Creation of an Arab Islamic task force to adopt effective measures to ward off Israeli expansionist designs. We reiterate the OIC's call to suspend Israel's membership of the United Nations. Fourth, member states should actively consider implementing other appropriate measures against Israel. The UN Security Council must urgently demand from Israel under Chapter 7 of the UN Charter an immediate, unconditional and permanent ceasefire, release of hostages and exchange of Palestinian prisoners. Sixth, guaranteed, sustained and secure humanitarian access to all civilians in need and the protection of aid workers, medical teams, journalists and UN personnel. Above all, Excellencies, we must achieve a just, comprehensive and lasting two-state solution with creation of an independent state of Palestine with pre-1967 borders and Al-Quds Al-Sharif as its capital. Majesties, Highnesses, Excellencies, today in this historic gathering, we have affirmed solidarity in our intentions, in our thoughts, and in our words. In unison, we have all condemned Israel's aggression. Let history record this great moment when we, the leaders of the Arab Islamic world, have chosen unity, dignity, and courage over silence and inaction. Otherwise, my brothers and sisters, may I submit in all humility, posterity will never forgive us. وختاما أيها الإخوة والأخوات أود.
I would like, dear brothers and sisters, to conclude my statement by the ayah, hold together to the line of Allah and don't be divided. Allah is truthful. Thank you very much. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you, Your Excellency. Now I give the floor to Mr. Yerlan Koshanov, the Chairman of the Majlis of the Parliament of the Republic of Kazakhstan. Your Majesties, Highnesses, Excellencies, distinguished guests participating in the summit. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. First of all, I'm honored to convey the warm greetings and best wishes of the President of the Republic of Kazakhstan, Kasim-Jomart Tokayev, to His Highness the Emir of the State of Qatar, Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, and all the participants of the summit. We express our sincere gratitude to the government of Qatar for hosting the summit at such a high level and for the generous hospitality extended to us at a time when our unity and the principles of international law are being put to the test. Regrettably, today's extraordinary meeting has been convened due to the grave deterioration of the international situation. At present, the Middle East region is facing serious geopolitical challenges. The Republic of Kazakhstan strongly condemned the military actions undertaken by Israel against the state of Qatar. The President of Kazakhstan, Kasim-Jomart Tokayev, was the first to state this position, expressing Kazakhstan's firm support for Qatar. Whatever the stated purpose of such attacks, such actions must never be allowed. They violate the sovereign rights of the state of Qatar and run counter to the principles of international law. They pose a threat not only to the security of the state, but also to the equality and sovereignty of all states guided by international law. Qatar is our brotherly nation and one of our key partners in the Middle East and the Arab world as a whole. Today, Doha, thanks to its consistent policy of mediation, makes a significant contribution to global stability and security. It plays an important role in strengthening trust, dialogue, and peace in the international arena. The constructive initiatives and tireless efforts of the State of Qatar are highly valued and widely recognized by the international community. The position of the Republic of Kazakhstan on the settlement of international conflicts and disputes is crystal clear. All states must be resolved through peaceful dialogue in strict accordance with the Charter of the United Nations and international law. We call for the comprehensive application of these principles in resolving conflicts and ensuring their inviolability. Restoring to military force will only provoke new waves of violence and lead to further suffering of innocent civilians. In this context, we cannot ignore the tragic events unfolding in the Gaza Strip, where the civilian population continues to bear the burden of the conflict. From the very outset, Kazakhstan has consistently called for an immediate cessation of hostilities in Gaza and the urgent delivery of humanitarian assistance to its people. In this regard, Kazakhstan has provided both financial and material support to Gaza, including contributions made in January of this year through the Islamic Organization for Food Security, headquartered in Astana. We therefore call on all of you to make full use of this organization's potential in scaling up humanitarian aid for the Palestinian people. Kazakhstan reaffirms its principled support for the Palestinian cause based on the two states for two peoples formula endorsed by the UN Security Council. In this context, I wish to highlight our support for the mediation efforts of His Highness the Emir of Qatar, Sheikh Tamim, aimed at achieving the earliest possible stabilization of the situation in Palestine, as well as for the initiatives directed at promoting the welfare of the Qatari people. Distinguished participants of the summit, Kazakhstan highly value the unity and solidarity of the Islamic world. We call upon all of us to remain united in the pursuit of justice, peace, and sustainable development, guided by our shared religious, cultural, and historical values, as well as by the bonds of brotherhood and strong friendship. Thank you for your attention. Thank you. Thank you. For Mr. Rian Koshanov, I give the floor now to His Highness Mr. Shihab bin Taimur Al Said, the Deputy Prime Minister for Defense Affairs of the Sultanate of Oman.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, peace, praise be to Allah, peace and blessings of Allah be on the Prophet and all of his companions. Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, Chairman of the Summit, Your Majesties, Your Highnesses, Your Excellencies, members of delegation, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I have the honor to convey to you the greetings of the Sultan of Oman, may Allah preserve him, and his deep appreciation for the efforts of the brotherly state of Qatar for hosting this extraordinary summit at a very critical juncture in the history of the world. Your Majesties, Your Excellencies, Your Highnesses, distinguished delegates, the treacherous attack on Qatar reveals very clearly the danger of the time we are in and of the treachery of Israel in our region without adherence to international law and without any respect for the blood of people, and also attacking Qatar, one of the countries that is striving to entrench peace in Palestine. It is actually turning us further from the peace that we want, which is comprehensive, that achieves the dream of the Palestinian people. The Sultanate of Oman condemns in very strong terms this treacherous attack, and we affirm our solidarity with the people and leadership of the state of Qatar. And we affirm here that the security of Qatar is the security of the Gulf countries and the Arab and Islamic countries. What we face today is not to be condemned, but it requires practical, concrete measures, particularly at the legal and diplomatic levels. And we have to move at the United Nations and the Security Council and the General Assembly, and to deploy all mechanisms of international law to hold accountable Israel for its crimes and its violations. We have to work together to stop this dangerous path that threatens international peace. The Sultanate of Oman believes that the keeping quiet of the international community before this action leads to impunity. Therefore, we call for this meeting to be a beginning for serious action and united action to translate the will of the Arab and Islamic worlds to clear positions in order to end the occupation and to stop the aggression and to reinstate international legitimate resolutions. Your Majesties, Your Excellency, Your Highnesses, today's meeting is an affirmation that our Arab and Islamic worlds are capable to address challenges if and when they unite, and we are confident that the unity is the best way to preserve and safeguard the our countries. May Allah protect us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you, Your Highness. Now I give the floor to Mr. Rashid Foreign Minister of the Republic of Turkmenistan.
Your Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, Amir of the State of Qatar, Your Excellencies, Heads of States and Governments, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I would like to convey best regards of the President of Turkmenistan, Mr. Serdar Berdimuhamedov, and the national leader of the Turkmen people, Gurbanguly Berdimuhamedov, to all of the participants of today's meeting. Turkmenistan has received with deep concern and worry the information of the armed attack carried out by Israel on 9th of September against the capital of Qatar, the city of Doha. We condemn such actions and consider them as a breach of the sovereignty of the state of Qatar and a gross violation of international law. Turkmenistan expresses its sincere condolences to the families of those who lost their lives. The use of force as a means of resolving any international issues is absolutely unacceptable and runs counter to the norms and principles of the United Nations Charter. In this regard, this tragic event goes far beyond the boundaries of a single region. It has struck at the very idea of the peaceful coexistence of states and peoples, which lies at the foundation of the entire modern system of international relations. We are convinced that any actions capable of threatening international peace and security must receive a principled assessment from the world community. Acts of the use of force against sovereign states not only reduce the level of international security, but also undermine the very foundation of mutual trust between countries. The history of humanity has clearly shown that trust is built over decades, but can be destroyed in a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, today we have gathered here to reaffirm our commitment to the fundamental principles on which the present and future architecture of peace must be built. In this context, we are convinced that joint efforts to implement the following actions will serve these purposes. First, respect for the sovereignty and territorial integrity of all states. Second, rejection of the policy of force and the exclusive use of political and diplomatic means and methods to resolve any disputes and conflicts. Third, preservation and strengthening of trust as a strategic resource of global security. Fourth, placing the issue of preventing acts of aggression in the future under special international control, including through expanded separate consideration in the United Nations Security Council with the participation of all interested parties. Fifth, strengthening preventive security measures. In the current situation, the unity of the Islamic world acquires special significance. We highly appreciate the efforts of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation and believe that it is our organization that can serve as a unifying platform for developing a common, responsible and peace-promoting approach of Islamic countries to crises and conflicts. Turkmenistan calls on all to refrain from endangering the global security system, which has been built through the efforts of all humankind and remains our common heritage and shared responsibility. In conclusion, I would like to express our gratitude to His Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani for initiative of the current summit and favorable conditions for our joint work. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Now I give the floor to Mr. Jehbab, the Foreign Minister of the Republic of Azerbaijan, Mr. Jihan Muramov.
Chair, distinguished Secretary General, Excellencies. At the outset, let me extend our gratitude to the General Secretariat of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation for organizing this emergency summit at the request of the State of Qatar. The recent airstrike on the State of Qatar is deeply concerning. We express our support for the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Qatar and call for strict adherence to the UN Charter and international law to avoid further aggravation of regional situation. Since the eruption of the ongoing crisis, Qatar has been making pivotal mediation efforts to find a negotiated solution. We highly appreciate and commend Qatar's effort to facilitate negotiations between the parties, including through providing its soil for direct negotiations. In this context, we are concerned that the latest developments risk disruption of the negotiation process at the expense of prolonging the crisis in Gaza. This has already led to serious humanitarian tragedies, and further delay in ending this crisis through dialogue and negotiations must be avoided. It is imperative to preempt any measures that could further deteriorate the fragile security environment in the Middle East or undermine the remaining prospects for a lasting resolution. Instead, all involved stakeholders should endeavor to find common ground on the path to a permanent ceasefire in Gaza to end the plight of its residents. Good faith dialogue and de-escalation need to be prioritized. Excellencies, the severe humanitarian disaster in Gaza and across Palestine demands immediate response. Alongside peace-building efforts, consistent and secure humanitarian access is essential to alleviating the suffering of the Palestinian people in Gaza and addressing the deepening humanitarian crisis. As a committed member of the OSCE and its designated chair for the year 2026, Azerbaijan remains firm in its solidarity with the people of Palestine. While reiterating the urgent need for permanent ceasefire, Azerbaijan consistently advocates for the settlement of the conflict on the basis of the two-state principle, recognizing Al-Quds al-Sharif as the capital of Palestine in line with international law and relevant UN and OSCE resolutions. This also includes the recognition of the Gaza Strip as an integral part of the state of Palestine and unconditional respect for the fundamental right of Palestinians, including Gaza residents, to life in safety and dignity in their homeland. Any formula envisaging violation of this fundamental human right of residents of Gaza is not acceptable. Since the latest escalation began in 2023, Azerbaijan redoubled its humanitarian assistance efforts and has contributed more than $2 million to UNRWA to help address the pressing humanitarian needs of Palestinians, while also backing reconstruction efforts under the assistance plan initiated by Egypt. Beyond financial aid, Azerbaijan continues to support the Palestinian people in educational healthcare. In this context, Azerbaijan provided scholarships to Palestinian students and continues its effort, notwithstanding the impediments stemming from ongoing situation in Gaza. Furthermore, Azerbaijan pledged to build a school in Nablus for 600 students. Azerbaijan remains committed to contributing to efforts that promote a just and lasting resolution of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. I thank you.
Thank you, Excellency. Now I give the floor to Mr. Mohammed Tawhid Hussein, Foreign Minister of the Republic of Bangladesh. You have the floor.
Your Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, Honorable Amir of Qatar, Majesties, Highnesses, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Let me begin by expressing on behalf of the people and the government of Bangladesh our deepest solidarity with the brotherly state of Qatar and its resilient people. We condemn in the strongest possible terms the unprovoked and unjustifiable Israeli attack on the sovereign territory of Qatar. This attack is not merely an assault on Qatar. It's an affront to the dignity of the entire Muslim Ummah, a brazen violation of international law, and a dangerous threat to regional and global peace and security. Bangladesh views this aggression as part of a disturbing pattern of reckless adventurism by Israel, which continues to disregard the UN Charter, international humanitarian law, and repeated resolutions of the United Nations. The attack on Qatar is not an isolated incident. It's a continuation of the complete disregard of Israel of international law, of decades of occupation, illegal settlement expansion, targeted assassinations, and indiscriminate bombings that have claimed the lives of countless innocent civilians in Palestine and elsewhere. Today, the Islamic world must send a clear, united, and unambiguous message. Enough is enough. Aggression against one of us is aggression against all of us. We must collectively hold Israel accountable for the naked act of aggression and demand an immediate cessation of such illegal activities. Bangladesh calls for a coordinated diplomatic, political, and if necessary, economic measures by all OIC member states to deter further Israeli provocations. This is a moment of truth for the Muslim Ummah. If we remain divided, we embolden those who seek to undermine our sovereignty and trample upon the rights of our peoples. If we stand united, we can compel the aggressor to respect international norms and ensure justice for the victims. Bangladesh also underscores the urgency of addressing the root cause of this crisis, the unresolved question of Palestine. We reaffirm our steadfast support for the establishment of an independent, viable, and sovereign state of Palestine with East Jerusalem as its capital based on the pre-1967 borders. Excellencies, this summit must not end with words alone. Our people expect us to act in defense of justice, peace, and the dignity of the Ummah. Bangladesh has always stood on the side of justice, and we will always raise our voice against oppression wherever it occurs. We stand resolute with Qatar and with all those resisting aggression and occupation. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Thank you, Excellency. Now I give the floor to Mr. Ahmed Attaf, the Foreign Minister of the Republic of Algeria. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, Your Excellency, Your Highness, Chair of the Arab Islamic Summit, I am honored to read the text sent by President Abdelmajid Tebboune, your brother, to this distinguished summit. First of all, I read as follows. It is no longer a matter of extremism that our security cannot be separated. The attack on Qatar by Israel is an attack on the Arab and Islamic nation. It is an attack on its rights and security, and it's an attack on all ideals that humanity believes in. In the face of this horrific attack, Algeria stands shoulder to shoulder with the state of Qatar, the leadership and the people, and the dear people in this very dear country. We promise our support to take all what is necessary in terms of step to safeguard its sovereignty and to provide the necessary protection for their people. The danger of the current situation in the Middle East goes beyond what any particular statement can summarize. There is no doubt we are in the face of a watershed moment in history, a stage where it is not difficult to see threats that we are faced with. It is very clear that the Israeli occupation does not have any limit to its hegemony and its arrogance, and it does not see any limit to the barbaric aggression to international norms. in fact, not even any basic rules of coexistence. It is crystal clear to all that the Israeli occupation cannot imagine its security unless at the expense of other people and the stability of the people. It does not see any way to have tranquility unless putting the whole region into chaos through destruction. It is very clear to all that the Israeli occupation continues its aggressive times and criminal endeavors. It is an aggression against the region and the world, with continued genocide of the Palestinian people in Gaza without any hesitation. Since the beginning of this year, this country has attacked 5 countries: Lebanon, Syria, Yemen, Iran, and now Qatar. How near not, we all know that we have to have a way to end the problem in Gaza, and it is trying to open fronts after fronts. Why not? This is the country that is threatening to redraw the map of the region. 2 days ago, the Security Council met upon the request of Algeria and with the support of some brotherly and friendly countries to discuss the Israeli aggression against this brotherly country. This was a meeting that saw a lot of solidarity with the state of Qatar by all member states. The international community is no longer keeping quiet, and they do not have weak determination, and they do not lack deterrence, but they are clear that there is no way to punish anybody from any so our resolution must be in line with what was done at the Security Council to translate the awareness to real steps in order to curb the arrogance of this entity, and also to ensure that everything is done properly. This is the end of the presidential speech. Thank you for your attention. Thank you, Your Excellency. I give the statement now to Mr. Jembek Kolobayev, Foreign Minister of Kyrgyz Republic. You have the floor.
Your Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, Amir of the State of Qatar, honorable heads of states and governments, distinguished heads of delegation, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. First of all, on behalf of the President of Kyrgyz Republic, His Excellency Mr. Sadr Japarov, allow me to warmly greet all participants to today's extraordinary Arab Islamic Summit and to wish us all successful and a fruitful work. Distinguished heads of delegation, today we are gathered in the city of Doha during a difficult time for our Ummah. We all know the reason for this meeting. The actions of the State of Israel, which go against the world order that openly violate the principles of international law, including the actions directed against the State of Qatar, have caused us serious concern. By violating Qatar's airspace, Israel has carried out actions that break the main rules of international law and the Charter of the United Nations. As a result, the territorial integrity and sovereignty of Qatar have been harmed. Moreover, this created a serious threat to the safety of Qatari citizens and residents. Therefore, President of Kyrgyz Republic, Sadir Japarov, strongly condemned the missile strike of Doha, the capital of Qatar, and the call for preventing such actions for the future. We also express our sincere condolences to the families of those who lost their lives, and they wish a quick recovery to the injured. We fully support the efforts of the government of Qatar to defend itself. The Brazilian state of Qatar is known in the international community as a peace-loving country that has always played the role of mediator. For the past 20 years, Doha has become a center for global peace talks and has continually offered its platform for dialogue. In this context, Israel's attack on Doha in open violation of international law is a serious blow to peace negotiations, and it shows the Israel's actions are not aimed in achieving peace. That is why I believe it is very important for us to unite and take quick and proper measures to stop such violence of the law. Honorable heads, states and delegations, as we have always stressed, Kyrgyzstan recognizes and firmly supports of territorial integrity and sovereignty of every country, and will continue to follow this principle. Unfortunately, Israel continues to use force against the Brazilian-Palestinian people, expanding its military actions and creating instability throughout the Middle East. We repeat our positions that there can be no just and lasting peace in the region until Palestine is established as an independent state with its own land and a fully functioning government. The illegal occupation of Gaza, Israel's ongoing military operations, and the deep humanitarian crisis demand that the international community unite and act quickly. In this regard, we fully support the global coalition's efforts to implement the two-state solution. We will continue to support all constructive efforts to ease the suffering of the Palestinian people, to achieving a just and lasting peace in the Middle East, and to lower tensions in the region. In these difficult times, we need fast, clear, and coordinated actions. We want to stress again the urgency of taking immediate steps to improve the situation, to find lasting solutions. I thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you, Excellency. Now I give the floor to Mr. Sukiano, the Foreign Minister of Indonesia.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Your Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al-Thani, Emir of the State of Qatar, Majesties, Excellencies, leaders of the Arab Islamic Summit, OIC. At the outset, I want to express our profound gratitude and appreciation to His Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al-Thani, the Emir of State of Qatar, for the generous hosting, invitation, and organizing of this excellent conference. Allow me to convey the warmest regards and sincere regrets from President Prabowo Subianto, who deeply values the significance of this emergency summit and greatly appreciates Qatar's leadership in hosting it. President Prabowo himself traveled to Doha 3 days ago on September 12th to personally meet with His Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al-Thani, Emir of the State of Qatar. His visit was a clear message of Indonesia's unwavering support for Qatar following the horrific and cowardly attack on Doha by Israel, and reaffirmed Indonesia's enduring commitment to peace in the Middle East. We salute the resilience of Qatar and joining the Qataris in condolences to those who martyred, and joining the prayer for those who wounded, and wish for a speedy recovery. And we stand in solidarity with you in this trying time. Majesties, Highnesses, Excellencies, Indonesia condemns the recent Israeli attack against Qatar. It is a flagrant breach of international law, the UN Charter, and the very principles upon which the OIC was founded. It is not only an attack on Qatar's sovereignty, but also a grave threat to regional and global peace and any attempts to negotiate peace itself. What we witness in Doha is not an isolated incident, it's a tragic consequences of decades-long impunity. And let us be clear that the Palestinian question is not solely about Palestine. It's about the survival of our nations, the dignity of our people, and the sanctity of international law. Majesties, Your Highnesses, and Excellencies, as mentioned by the previous speakers, this summit must issue one collective response which is clear, principled, and united. Indonesia believes that this summit must not only issue collective condemnation against Israel, but also to urge the United Nations Security Council to fulfill its mandate by taking firm and urgent measures to ensure accountability and prevent any recurrence. And we must strengthen solidarity among OIC members to confront such barbarous act. And at the same time, we must not lose sight of the root cause, which is Israel's illegal occupation of Palestine. For Indonesia, the path to lasting peace remains unchanged. The realization of the sovereign state and independent state of Palestine, with East Jerusalem as its capital, based on relevant UN resolution. We will continue to stand shoulder to shoulder with Qatar, with Palestine, and with all nations that uphold international law and humanity. Let this summit be remembered as the moment the OIC stood firm, defending sovereignty, humanity, and justice. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
I shall now give the floor to His Excellency Muhammad Ali Nafti, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Migration in the Sisterly Republic of Tunisia. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Your Majesties, Excellencies and Highnesses, it is a privilege for me to convey to you, to Sheikh Mohammed bin Amin Thani, the Emir of Qatar, and to their Majesties, Highnesses and Excellencies, the profound greetings of His Excellency President of the Republic of Tunisia, Mr. Qais Said, and his full sympathy and solidarity with the sisterly country of Qatar, its leadership and its people, following the aggression against Qatar, and his profound wishes for full success of this event being hosted by the capital Doha, with our profound thanks for the hospitality and welcome extended to us. Your Excellencies, our summit today is being held at a particular watershed of particular importance that registered clearly in clear sight of the international community the real character of the Israeli oppressor that has reaffirmed their action against stability in the region. 2 years have been passed in terms of aggression and starvation against the brotherly people of Palestine, along with ceaseless aggressions against our brothers in Lebanon, Syria, and Iran, reaching out even to aggress the sisterly country of Qatar, whilst Tunisia reiterates its full solidarity with the sisterly country of Qatar and its support for its full defense of its sovereignty and stability. Tunisia reiterates that the Zionists' aggression against this peace-loving country reiterates clearly, unambiguously, this entity's rejection of any peaceful action to put an end to the aggression against the Arab and Islamic people and their approach of that believes that such actions would deter the Islamic people and the Palestinian people from following their rightful resistance. It has become clear, following the continued aggression against the Arab and Islamic territories, that this Zionist entity is actually targeting the stability of the Arab and Islamic states. No state has been spared, and in this regard, we wish to reaffirm from this podium that the Arab and Islamic authority and system is an integral part, and therefore we need to unite and concert efforts to stand up against all the aggressions that the Zionist entity presents for peace and security, not only in the region, but worldwide. We need to also intensify our action under the umbrella of our two organizations to ensure the failure of these schemes that are plotted by the Zionist entity. This is an opportune occasion for us, for the Arab and Islamic countries, to reiterate the optimal cooperation in the face of the dangers that threaten our countries, so as to ensure that the Arab and Islamic edifice will remain unified and steadfast. Your Excellencies, Your Highnesses, Tunisia calls upon the international community, and particularly the Security Council of the United Nations, to bear and shoulder its moral and ethical and legal responsibilities, and to act in order to put an end to the aggressions and arrogance of the Zionist enemy. We wish to reiterate the need to unite our efforts with all active forces worldwide to put an end to the arrogance of the Israeli entity and their aggression against the Gaza Strip and their aggressions across the region, in order for our countries to preserve our credibility and for the world's community to reassure us all of their credibility in favor of international stability. Whilst Tunisia stands up in support of the state of Qatar, my country reiterates its full support in favor of the Palestinian people to re-establish their rights, including their right to self-determination on all the territories of Palestine, with Al-Quds al-Sharif as its capital. On this basis, we hope and look forward to this extraordinary or emergency summit to come out with active and concrete measures to fulfill our and prove our full determination in the face of all threats that are represented by the Zionist enemy against stability in the region. The Islamic and Arab Ummah, with all its resources and capacities, have all the necessary human and material capacities to regain its confidence and to stand up in support of justice and to act a concrete and effective role in achieving human justice and global civilization, such as to deter any party from against aggressing others through our determined will and determination. Wassalamu alaikum. Thank you, Your Excellency. Let me now give the floor to His Excellency Mr. Bakhtiyar Saidov, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Uzbekistan. You have the floor, sir.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalam ala Rasulillah. Amma ba'd. Hurmatli Rais janoblari, hurmatli delegatsiyalar rahbarlari. Assalomu alaykum wa rahmatullah.
Your Excellencies, heads of delegation, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. First of all, allow me to convey to you the greetings and salutations of President Karamazov, President of the Republic of Kazakhstan, to His Highness, the Emir of Qatar, and to all participants in this summit today. It is a great honor for me to partake in this important event and to deliver this statement on behalf of His Excellency, the President of Uzbekistan. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Mr. Chairman, Honorable Chiefs of Delegation, I'm gratified to express our due thanks and appreciation to all the participants in this event and to express our solidarity with the sisterly country of Qatar and to discuss in detail the key issues that that represent a challenge to the entire Islamic Ummah. We have been shocked by the news regarding the aggression against the capital, Doha, so dear to us. Any threat against the state of Qatar that has been active in mediation, peaceful negotiation, and mediation towards peace in the entire region of the Middle East. This aggression has taken place at a time when there were new plans being worked out for peace in Gaza. This is a hostile aggression against peace and the achievement of peaceful solutions. This is indicative of the fact that they give priority to their personal and individual interests against the international community. The issue of international rule is of importance, and Qatar is fully entitled to defend its territories and to take necessary measures in this regard. However, the efforts put in by His Highness the Emir to resolve the crisis in a peaceful manner once again reiterate his wisdom and his keen interest on the peace and stability in the region. This painful event is not of interest to Qatar alone. This is a test for the international world community, and we are all aware of this. Uzbekistan condemns strongly such actions, irresponsible actions that would threaten regional stability. We call on the international community to take necessary steps to prevent the escalation of the current situation. Regrettably, this is not an isolated incident in the Middle East. The bloody aggressions in Gaza and the neighboring regions are expanding day after day. And despite the calls from the international community, the violations of all principles have been ongoing. I wish to reiterate, particularly that the military aggressions that result in the murdering and assassinations of innocent children and citizens go fully against the world community's interest. And we therefore would like to have the international bodies and to give fruit. Your honors, the participants, Uzbekistan calls for all initiatives to resolve these issues and challenges in a peaceful manner. We call for a common policy that would help us achieve solutions at both the regional and international levels as soon as possible. We resolutely reaffirm the right of the Palestinian people to ensure their rights in line with the UN resolutions and the Arab Islamic Summit decisions which we took recently. Particularly, we have received a number of Palestinian injured people, and we have extended medical and material and moral support. We have set up a special fund to this effect. Honorable participants, it is our hope that this meeting of ours today will lay the ground for a solution to the Middle East issue, and we pray to Allah Almighty to grant Prince Mohammed Al Thani to have the necessary resolve to consolidate the Islamic Union. Shaukat Mirziyoyev, signed by Shaukat Mirziyoyev, President of the State of Uzbekistan. Thank you for your attention. Thank you, Your Excellency. Let me now give the floor to His Excellency Master Mohammed Jalou, Deputy President of the Republic of Uganda.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Your Royal Highness, Sheikh Tamim bin Ahmad bin Khalifa Al Thani, Emir of the State of Qatar, our host and chairman of this extraordinary Arab Islamic Summit. Your Majesties, Your Highnesses, Your Excellencies, Heads of State and Government, Your Excellency Mr. Ahmed Abul Ghaid, Secretary General of the League of Arab States, Your Excellency Mr. Hussein Brahim Taha, Secretary General of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, Honorable Ministers, distinguished delegates. It's a great honor to address this important high-level extraordinary gathering. First and foremost, I extend to you greetings and best wishes on behalf of the government and people of the Gambia, and indeed on behalf of His Excellency Mr. Adama Barrow, President of the Republic of the Gambia. I seize this opportunity as well to express sincere gratitude and heartfelt appreciation to His Highness Emir Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad bin Khalifa Al Thani, the government and people of the State of Qatar, for hosting this very important summit at a critical time for the Arab and Middle East region and for our Muslim Ummah. I also thank the State of Qatar for the generous hospitality and facilities placed at our disposal since our arrival in this beautiful and historic city of Doha. May I also renew my sincere recognition, appreciation, and commendation of the great leadership efforts and support of the custodian of the two holy mosques, King Salman bin Abdul Aziz Al Saud, and the Crown Prince and Prime Minister, His Royal Highness Prince Mohammed bin Salman Al Saud of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. May Allah preserve them in advancing and defending the cause and interests of the Palestinian people, the Muslim Ummah, as well as the sanctity of the religion and image of Islam. I applaud the Secretary General of the League of Arab States and the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, respectively, for their commendable roles and dedication towards the consolidation of relations and cooperation between the League of Arab States and the Organization of Islamic Cooperation for the benefit of our peoples, under the leadership, guidance, and direction of Your Majesties, Highnesses, and Excellencies. Your Excellencies, the current war in Gaza extensively orphaned many children, separated many of them from their families, and subjected them to unforgettable trauma and lack of access to education, health facilities, shelter, sanitation, and food, causing long-lasting effects on their development. In fact, recent reports have shown that more than 300,000 children in the Gaza Strip are facing famine and death, and almost 68,000 precious Palestinian lives have perished in the prolonged war in the Palestinian territories. Your Excellencies, the blockade and the lack of access to humanitarian aid is causing huge suffering to the civilian population. We therefore urge the international community, particularly the UN Security Council, to provide the required precautions and mechanisms that would secure the designated corridors for the delivery of the much-needed humanitarian assistance to the people of Gaza. The Gambia strongly condemns the Israeli attack on the State of Qatar, as it constitutes a violation of international law, the sovereignty of the State of Qatar, and the fundamental principles of the Charter of the United Nations. Such actions within a sovereign state by another sovereign state undermine peace and security in the Middle East and beyond. The government of the Gambia expresses its deepest solidarity with the leadership, government and people of Qatar during this difficult time. The Gambia stands firmly with Qatar in safeguarding its sovereignty, security, and territorial integrity. The government of the Gambia further calls on the international community, especially the United Nations, Security Council, and relevant regional organizations to take urgent and decisive measures to prevent further escalation, ensure accountability, and work towards the protection of civilians and the restoration of peace. The Gambia reaffirms its unwavering commitment to dialogue, diplomacy, and peaceful coexistence among nations and remains committed to global and regional efforts aimed at preserving peace, security, and stability in the Middle East region. I also seize this opportunity to appreciate and applaud the State of Qatar for its great mediation efforts and contributions towards the Arab Peace Initiative in establishing a sovereign and independent state of Palestine, as well as the restoration of durable peace, security, and stability in the Arab and Middle East region. Your Excellencies, the Gambia also joined the strong voices of the international community in rejecting any Israeli settlement plan as they constitute a breach of international law and UN Security Council resolutions, especially 2334, which opposes all Israeli settlement activities aimed at altering the demographic composition, character, and legal status of the occupied Palestinian territories, including Al-Quds, Al-Sharif, the capital city of the state of Palestine. The Gambia strongly believes that the two-state solution is a prerequisite for stability and durable peace in the Middle East. The best option for a peaceful and durable settlement of this prolonged dispute between the two states is a peace accord based on the two-state solution, guaranteeing both states their legitimate and inalienable rights to full sovereignty and self-determination within an atmosphere of mutual respect, trust, and confidence. In this regard, we call for the immediate mobilization and deployment of joint Arab-Islamic resources in collaboration with members of the international community to achieve a durable ceasefire, thereby paving the way for a lasting peace that respects the rights and sovereignty of all states and peoples. The Gambia therefore reiterates its call for the continued mobilization of support for a full global recognition and UN membership of the State of Palestine. We must not relent in our efforts to achieve this object. We congratulate and appreciate the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the Republic of France for successfully initiating and co-chairing the previously held UN High-Level Conference on Palestine and the implementation of the two-state solution. The Gambia further welcomes the upcoming follow-up high-level conference on Palestine on 22nd September this year in New York. Your Excellencies, in conclusion, I must emphasize that it is absolutely crucial for all the members of the international community, particularly with the Arab Islamic Ummah, to come together in full solidarity and unity to ensure humanitarian aid reaches those that are needed in Gaza and the occupied Palestinian territories. We must also work collectively towards a sustainable political and diplomatic solution that promotes peace and security for all the people in the region and beyond. I thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you. Now, we shall present to you the draft statement of the summit for adoption. It is thus adopted. The final communique is thus adopted. Thank you. In conclusion of the proceedings of our summit, I would like to extend to you, Your Majesties, Excellencies, and Highnesses, our profound thanks and appreciation for having responded to our invitation and for your active participation in this summit at such short notice, and for the solidarity and keen interest in supporting the state of Qatar in the face of this cowardly aggression. We would like to renew our thanks to the General Secretariat of the League of Arab States and the OIC General Secretariat for their efforts in preparing for the summit, and we pray to God Almighty to crown our efforts in favor of our states and our Ummah. Wassalamu alaikum.
Channel 1. 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 Channel 1
Channel 1. Channel 1.